sense of proprietorship over possessions. Shariram, in keeping body and soul together. Kevalam, only. Karma, work. Kurvan, doing. Na, never. Apnoti, does require. Kilbisham, sinful reactions. Translation. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Purport. A Krishna-conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he is a part and parcel of the Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. When the hand moves, it does not move out of its own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. A Krishna-conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire, for he has no desire for personal sense gratification. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna-conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for action in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. A Krishna-conscious person, fully engaged in self-realization, has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not, therefore, become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions to his actions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining me to discuss this beautiful verse, continuing on the beautiful attributes of what Lord Krishna has been describing of an intelligent person in this material world. And so an intelligent person is a devotee in this regard. So an intelligent person is a devotee. So we're understanding the qualities of a devotee through these verses. So what is an intelligent person by definition? In the previous verse, it was described by Krishna. An intelligent person is one who has abandoned attachment to the results of his activities, even though he may be fully immersed, or externally he may fully be immersed in those activities. Krishna says that that person is abandoned from all the results. So we are doing things in the material world. We are going through life. We are getting up. We are going through our daily duties, school, office, work, taking care of our children, taking care of our parents. So many duties we go through, but we do it without a sense of proprietorship, without the desire or without expectation for anything in return. So one thing comes to mind when I say this: Trinadapi sunichena, taror api sahisnana, amanina manadena. One who does not have any expectation that they will get respect and admiration from anyone is one who is a truly intelligent person, with a true devotee of Krishna. But in my experience, just with being a devotee or trying to be a devotee, this habit of desiring admiration, desiring adoration, desiring that people will tell me I'm doing a good job or having good grades or something, some kind of external stimulation that habit is very hard to quit. To get to the stage of amanina manadena, or as explained in this verse, nirashihi, one who has without desire for the result, it is very difficult to quit that habit. But in order to be a devotee or an intelligent person, to be able to navigate the world in a more aware way, we need to be able to get to this point of nirashihi, or without desire for the result, or as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu puts it, amanina manadena. So let us look a little bit deeper into each of these qualities. So in this verse, we're continuing on the qualities of a intelligent person or devotee. And so we see the first one, it says, Nirashir yatha chitatma, which means the mind and intelligence. So chitta atma. Here, atma is referring to intelligence and chitta is referring to mind. So the person who has controlled his mind and intelligence is a true intelligent person. So nirashir yatha chitatma. The second quality described is tyakta sarva parigraha. Tyakta means giving up, sarva means all, and parigraha means sense of proprietorship over possessions. So this refers to someone who has totally realized that they are not in control, that Krishna is in control, that Krishna is the true owner, the controller, maintainer, and best friend of all living entities. And this person has no sense of proprietorship for their results or for anything. The next last quality described is Shariram Kevalam Karma. Shariram meaning in keeping body and soul together, Kevalam meaning only, and Karma meaning work. So here Krishna is describing one who only works to keep their body and soul together is a person who is intelligent. So he does not go beyond trying to enjoy more than that what is necessary. And Srila Prabhupada, he makes a comment while I was reading one of his transcripts, and he makes this comment that this does not necessarily mean that we should starve. It doesn't mean that. Srila Prabhupada has made such a beautiful society of prasadam and feasting. and Sunday feast. So it's not that we are starving. It's we are enjoying. It is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya, he would, during his trips to Jagannath Puri, he would eat 10 heaping plates of food each all the time. And of course, there's a beautiful pastime with Ramachandra Puri. And it's described how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was eating for the pleasure of his disciples, of his devotees. And Jagannath Prasad, we can, as explained by Srila Prabhupada, we can also, what does he call it? Feast our way back to Godhead. So it's not necessarily meaning that this idea of bare necessities does not necessarily mean that we do not take care of ourselves, we do not take care of our bodies, we do not take care of our responsibilities. But it means that we do not strive to enjoy more than what is necessary. We do not strive to enjoy more than what is given. And so this is a beautiful exercise also in gratitude. So when we are grateful for whatever small things we have, as explained once by Amritananda Prabhu, it's not that we have to go to work or we have to go to school or we have to do so many things. It's that we get to go to work, we get to go to school. And of course, it's a very difficult it's a very deep place to get to. But from that awareness, we can learn so much from that position. So Shariram Kevalam Karma, so one who only works for the bare necessities of life. And so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains beautifully this topic of Sambandha, that we are a part and parcel of Krishna. And so this idea of Sambandha, that we have a relationship with Krishna, is the main point of this verse. So Srila Prabhupada gives this beautiful analogy in his lecture, that a madman, he forgets his family, he forgets his mother, his father, and he calls them bad names. So similarly, our position is similar to a madman. A madman, he doesn't recognize his own family, and similarly, we do not recognize our own family. And who is that family? Our family is Krishna. Our family are the devotees. Our family are the entire world. But our family is Krishna, and we have forgotten that most important relationship. And it is explained here, a Krishna conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire, where he has no desire for personal sense gratification. So this relationship that we have with Krishna is emphasized in this verse, that we have a personal relationship with Krishna. But because we have so many, we have come across so much illusion, we have forgotten this beautiful relationship with Krishna. Each and every one of us have a very unique relationship with Krishna. And although we may not feel it fully, it is there. Krishna loves us dearly, although we may not show it back, but we can try to show that love back. So in this regard, I would like to share a short story of this forgotten relationship with Krishna. So the story takes place in a kingdom, and there is a king, and he has a young son, about 7 or 8 years old. And one day, the king decides to take his young son on a hunting expedition. So the king is riding his horse, and his young prince, is riding behind him, and they are hunting. But suddenly, a gang of bandits, local bandits, they come over, and there's a big skirmish, and the prince is separated away from his father, and the king, he does not know what to do. He comes back to his kingdom. So the king returns safely to his kingdom, but the prince is lost in the forest. And the prince, not knowing what to do, he's wandering everywhere and everywhere, seeking seeking, where is my father? Where is my father? And he's lost and wandering through the forest, and he's very, very, very scared. And he comes across a local group of pig keepers. And these pig keepers, they welcome the prince into their house, and the prince begins to stay with these pig keepers, and he's only 7 or 8 years old. So he begins to stay with these pig keepers for some time, 1 year, 2 years, so many years pass, and the prince, he begins to forget that he was actually a prince. And he begins to think, oh, I am a pig keeper. I have always been a pig keeper, and I will always be a pig keeper. This is my family, just like my father is a pig keeper, just like my friends are pig keepers. I am also a pig keeper. So this is the story of a prince who turned into a pig keeper. And so like this, many, many years pass, 20 years like this pass. And a minister, he goes out to try to find the king's son. So this minister, he goes out 20 years later to find the prince's son, the king's son, the prince. And he comes across the pig keeper's place, and he goes to the prince and he tells him, you are not a pig keeper. You're actually not a pig keeper. You're actually the son of a great king. And so please come back with me. Come back with me. And in this way, the prince is not ready to acknowledge that he is a prince. And after a lot of talking with the minister, he finally comes back to the kingdom. And there he begins to realize, oh, I am actually a prince. And the minister, in this way, he helped the prince realize that that he could enjoy life in a much more deeper way as a king. And he returned the prince to his original position, his original majesty. So similarly, in this example, the king is like Lord Krishna, like the divine. And the minister is a symbol of the guru, the great devotees. And the prince is a symbol of us, the forgotten soul. And so when the forgotten soul comes in contact with the guru or the pure devotee, he begins to realize his true original majesty as a servant of God, as a son or daughter of Krishna, the king. Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam, the king, owner of all the worlds. So this story is meant to illustrate that a pure devotee, or these examples that we see, like this minister, can help us remember Krishna better. So it's always nice to have examples. So, okay. So speaking about examples that we can take in our lives, there is each of these qualities. I've tried to map them to one great personality, and I would like to tell you about them. So Nirashir Yathachitatma. So this is one who has his mind and intelligence controlled. And there is no better example, at least this is the example I found, and I found it extremely inspiring, of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj, he was also a boy, only 5 years old, and he was supremely elevated to the point where nothing could faze him. So here you see he's in a pit of so many vicious snakes, and he is fully immersed in the thoughts of Lord Krishna. So he's fully immersed in the thoughts of Lord Krishna. So he has his mind and intelligence fully controlled. So his mind cannot take him to a place of fearfulness, and he has full control over his intelligence. So this is a beautiful example of one who is nirashir yatachitatma, one who has no desire and is fully controlled by Lord Krishna. and has full control over their mind and intelligence. So before the sense of proprietorship is gone, yatha sarva parigraha. The second quality described in this verse, I would like to talk a little bit about our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. So what you see right before you is a beautiful picture of ISKCON Detroit. And this temple has a very, very beautiful story. I'm sure maybe some of you know. The temple was originally a huge mansion owned by the one of the great holders of the Rolls-Royce company. So automobiles were really booming around this time when Prabhupada was present in Chicago. And it was such a booming industry, and it was such a beautiful mansion. And Srila Prabhupada, he came and he was looking through, wow, it's so beautiful, so many levels. I've never been to the Detroit temple, but it seems to be so beautiful, and there are so many descriptions about how elaborate and luxurious this place was, so many beautiful things. As you can see from this picture, how ornate and beautiful things were. So the definition of luxury was this mansion. And so as Prabhupada is walking through it, he is very much impressed. And he talks to the owner and says, yes, we would love to have this temple. We would love to have this mansion and make it a temple for God. And so Prabhupada says, but we are servants of God. We are only servants of God. So we would like that you just give us this mansion as a donation for God, for Lord Krishna. It's a beautiful story because it shows how Srila Prabhupada is the master negotiator. And so Srila Prabhupada, he tells, we would like you to donate this temple. And the man, he suddenly becomes so worried. Prabhupada, I understand. Yes, you are servants of God. I understand, but you cannot possibly expect me to give such a beautiful good temple, to give such a beautiful mansion to you all for free. It's so ornate and beautiful and full with all kinds of opulence. How can I just give it away to you? And so Srila Prabhupada says, all right. So you name your price. What price do you name for this this beautiful mansion? And so the man goes, oh, he names a very, very big price, unimaginable price, especially given the finances of the early ISKCON. And he gives such a high price, and immediately Srila Prabhupada says, okay, that is done. I will pay you half of this price immediately right now for all of this mansion. So whatever price is given, Srila Prabhupada says, I will pay you half of this, but right now. And so the man says, yeah, if you'll pay it right now, of course. So the devotees suddenly, they became so scared. Prabhupada, this amount of money is unimaginable for us with our finances and our accounts right now. How can we possibly give it? And so Srila Prabhupada, he immediately calls up Alfred Ford. Many of you know as Ambarish Prabhu. And so he is the grandson of the great grandson of the Ford Motor Company, I believe. And he was a devotee. And so he asks Ambarish Prabhu, I would love, there's this beautiful land, and I would like to acquire it for the temple. Will you be able to donate this money? And so Alfred Ford, Ambarish Prabhu, he says, yes, I will be able to pay half of this money. So half, you'll be able to pay for this temple. And he calls up his soon to be wife, Sharmila Mataji, and he asks, will you be able to pay the other half? And she is also the granddaughter of a great union organization, and so she also agrees. And so the beautiful temple of Detroit is bought at only half the cost. And I wanted to bring up this story because it shows how Srila Prabhupada, he's exemplifying this idea that yata sarva parigraha, that there is nothing but Krishna's service. So even this beautiful mansion, he was thinking, let it only be that I take this for free for Krishna's service, not for my own service, but for Krishna's service. Everything, this beautiful ornate temple, is all for Sri Sri Radha Krishna's service. So this exemplifies how one's sense of proprietorship is gone when one becomes an intelligent person. Finally, the third quality given is the bare necessities, or shariram kevalam karma. So this is the third line of the verse. And so the two examples I would like to give are Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. And of course, these are also the Rupa Goswami is also the person we call out to before we start any lecture. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam. That person who took Lord Chaitanya's dream to spread the holy name in every town and village and made it a reality, when will that Rupa Goswami give me a spot at his lotus feet? And the reason I would like to bring up these two divine personalities for the last quality explained in this verse of an intelligent man is because they truly show what it means to give up everything material for the service of the Lord and only live on the bare necessities. As you can see on the picture on the left, Sanatan Goswami is feeding his beautiful Madan Mohan with simply these dried balls of flour. So this flour added a little bit of salt and he gave it to his Madan Mohan. But the backstory of these two personalities is so great. They were actually ministers at the court of Nawab Hussain Shah, and they are the most beloved ministers of Nawab Hussain Shah, and he is a great but also a cruel king. But the two brothers Rupa and Sanatana are supremely close to his heart. I just would like to read a little bit from this book on the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan that shows how the two Goswamis were so incredibly detached from the material world. So this is from Rupa Goswami leaving the government service. So he is the most beloved court minister of Nawab Hussain Shah. And so Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, he stopped going to his office and he would stay home reading and chanting Srimad Bhagavatam all day with many great devotees. Nawab Hussain Shah came to his home, and when he saw him, he said, "You said you were sick. You are not sick. You're just studying Srimad Bhagavatam all day. What about all the duties I've given you? I really need your help." And Sanatana Goswami said, "I will not help. I resign. You cannot count on me for any service. You can punish me in any way you like." And so Sanatana Goswami, he's put into prison, but being sent some money by Rupa Goswami incognito, he is able to escape the prison very tactfully and come and meet Lord Chaitanya in Vrindavan. So these beautiful, actually, yes. And so these beautiful personalities are there to show us as gurus, as guiding figures of what it means to truly live on bare necessities, to truly give up everything for the service of Krishna. So with that, I would like to end today's class. If there are any comments, reflections, or anything I've missed, I would love to hear them from all of you right now. Hare Krishna.
Hey Surabhi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I wanted your point of view to understand from the younger generation, the youth. We should not be attached to the result. So, how would you apply this as a young person and in your case as a student so that you perform well in your studies? So, like studying for exam, getting good grades, and so on and so forth. So, how this instruction, how would you look at it and
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for asking that. Thank you. I was actually having this conversation with my mom today that the material society and spiritual society are so diametrically opposite that in material life there is a winner and there's a loser. There is someone who gets an A and there's someone who gets an F. In spiritual life, there's no such thing like that. There's absolutely nothing like that. Maybe in my mind there may be something that someone is advancing and I'm not, but that's not the case. Everyone is the winner in spiritual life. So they're so diametrically opposed. And so how do we operate in this material situation when we need to get good grades, when we need to measure up? So I think in the past, when I've thought about this, and I think I've also discussed this, maybe also in Sunday school with you once or twice, but I think we do everything as service for Krishna. So we put Krishna in the center and we do service for him that way. I've also heard that people say that we go to school so that we can make money, so that we can do it for Krishna. And I've also heard comments of people saying that that's a very long-winded way of thinking about it, that once I get a job, then I will be able to donate to temple. It's a very long-winded approach to think like that. But when I think about it in my own practice, I simply do it like my duty. So like Arjuna, he does his duty simply because Krishna tells him to, whether he likes it or not. It becomes a practice for me like that. So even if I like it or not, I'm studying because it will please Krishna.
very nice. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on this, Prabhuji?
I think it will echo what you had said the same. First is the duty, and the entire Krishna conscious process is keeping Krishna in the center. So typically, if we see that a regular kid in college would want to get good grades and all because he or she is thinking in terms of what my future will be. I'll get a good job and money, etc. What will it be used for? The results of that is basically for the self. But the same thing, being competitive, so to say, for Krishna is an act of devotional service, whether it's as a college student, whether it is as a intern, someone who has just joined, or someone who's in the middle corporate life, doesn't matter. Is we can use everything. So today I was reading in Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada says these faults that we have with us, the Prahlad Maharaj pastime, Canto 7, the faults that is there in us is greed, envy, illusion, all these things. He's saying everything can be used in Krishna's service. So, but you summed it up very nicely.
I'm still realizing it. I'm still realizing it. I also have trouble with that, especially because, the competition we talked about that you were mentioning, it is very different. The spiritual world and the spiritual life and material life are so different. So it definitely is a practice that I'm also coming to grips with. Thank you so much. I was also reading, I think I remember a verse my mom shared with me from the Prema Chandrika, that explains how even we can use our lust, our greed, our anger, all of them in Krishna's service some way or another. So thank you so much for that beautiful reflection.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Surabhi Mataji, beautiful class. And I have a question, or rather a thought, maybe you can tell me, there are people working in some industries, like maybe they became devotees, or they're, for example, a simple example, like somebody working in an airline is forced to serve meat and alcohol and that kind of thing. So what should somebody like that do? And he becomes a devotee, should he give up his job, or one should not aspire for that kind of job, or what do you do in that kind of situation?
Yeah, that sounds
is
like
it okay to still continue with that job because you're not really consuming it yourself, you're just doing it as part of your duty.
Oh, that's such a very difficult situation, and a very difficult situation. Someone is a devotee and they've been put into a position of serving meat, and yeah, so something that is against their own principles. That's a very difficult position to be in. Before I would like to have some time to gather my thoughts, because that's such a very difficult question. I would like to ask the Amritanand Prabhuji, Simesha Prabhuji, if you have any thoughts on this. Or Subal Prabhu, I'm sure you have some beautiful thoughts on this.
No, I honestly, I wouldn't ask you if I've thought about this, and maybe, but just because you said about being a student and working, but what somebody's in, okay, that is fine. What if somebody is in a situation like that, just like
when they can't avoid?
Yeah, and I mean, he could be already in that situation, then becomes a devotee, then what do you do?
Something that comes to mind is the pastime of Ambarisha Maharaj. Ambarisha Maharaj, he was almost, in a way, forced to break his fast because the time was correct, by drinking some water, and because he was a pure devotee of the Lord, he did not get any offense by doing that. It was the person who offended the devotee by pointing out his faults, Durvasa Muni, who got the heat of the Sudarshan Chakra. And so something that comes to my mind is that verse from Bhagavad Gita: one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, although he might make some mistakes, and even in this verse it's explained in the previous verses also, that all of the sins are burnt up by their tapasya, by their austerity in Krishna consciousness. So it's definitely a very difficult situation that you've put in, that person is put in. And I'm sure Kala Prapat Malatu, there is so much dirt in this age of Kali, sometimes it's very difficult to stay away from those kind of things. So I guess the idea will be one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, keeps on going. Krishna will take away those obstacles slowly and slowly. Amritanand Prabhuji, Simesha Prabhuji, please, I would love to hear if my understanding is correct or not.
Surabhi, I have actually been in this situation, been there, lived that, and thankfully to the mercy of Bhakti Charu Swami, he said what to do in such a situation. Subala Prabhu, my job in sales and business development required me to do wining and dining. And then the customer and the client, you take them out for a drink, or all the forbidden things which we ourselves practice. But then it is said that the person not only who's eating meat, but the person who's slaughtering the animal, who's delivering the animal, who's cooking the animal, who's serving the animal, incurs that kind of the reaction, who pays for that, incurs that kind of reaction. So I had asked Bhakti Charu Maharaj, my job requires me to do this, so what should I be doing? So he asked me a simple question saying that, why are you working? So I said, I work, for maintenance of myself and my family. So Maharaj got kind of astonished and he raised his eyebrows and he said, your family? And there was confusion. I said, yeah, my family. So he says, why don't you go with the consciousness that this is Krishna's family and you're just a caretaker? And when you are earning this money for doing the maintenance of Krishna's family, whatever money you get from your job, you're using it in the maintenance of Krishna's family so that you could bring them closer to Krishna. That becomes an act of devotional service. And where there is devotional service, it is a karma. There is no question of any contamination, so to say, that action reaction. A similar thing, if you look at it, is that another example is Prabhupada was sitting in his room and there was a professional kirtanier who takes money. And you have professional Bhagavad reciters also. They take money to recite Bhagavatam. So he was singing very nicely, very melodiously, and everyone was like captured by that beauty of his singing. Prabhupada told his disciple, go shut the window. So he says that they got surprised. They said, Prabhupada, he's chanting Mahamantra, taking the Lord's name. Prabhupada said he's taking the Lord's name, but all I can hear is money, 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 money. Now look at it the other way. There are devotees, Vaishnavas, who also sing. They also sing Mahamantra and the bhajans and Vaishnav songs. And also there is a fee for their services. So when they're invited for Janmashtami festival or something like that, the temple or whatever, you pay them. Then what is the difference? Both are earning. Lakshmi is going to both. There's Lakshmi going to this professional singer for singing Mahamantra, and there's Lakshmi going to a Vaishnav devotee who's also singing Mahamantra. What's the difference? The only difference is that the professional singer, with the Lakshmi that he uses, he'll use it for his sense gratification, whereas the Vaishnav, the Lakshmi that he gets, he'll use it in Krishna's service, whatever, for his family, for maintaining the deity worship that he does at home, and so on and so forth, for his sadhana. So that becomes an act of devotional service. So both are being paid, but one is being paid and using it in Krishna's service, the other is using it in his own service. So it is not per se the act, but the intent and purpose and the result, which ties into your class today, Surabhi Mataji, Sundarachalam Mataji, of not being attached to that result and use everything in. So this is what Bhakti Charu Swami's instruction has been to me. And then also from when we were inviting singers, and I had asked this to other Vaishnavas, what's the difference, Prabhupada's pastime of shutting the window and over here? And this is how it was explained. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I just have a follow-up quickly. I mean, if nobody else has, could follow up on that, I'll just wait.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think there is a beautiful story also in this. There was a Brahmin called Kosik. You all might have heard about the story. Like the Brahmin Kosik will be doing some meditation, and all of a sudden, doing meditation, and later on, he will come across a village woman for begging. So the woman, he was busy. So this Brahmin was, kind of little mad. So then the woman, when he comes to give him alms, then she tells that don't curse me like that, like you already cursed that crow who once, passed urine on you. So then this Kosik Brahmin gets very surprised. Then asked, how did you get so much knowledge? Then this lady replied that you go to the other village, there is in Mithila, there is a butcher over there, and you go and take the knowledge from him. So now the Kosik Brahman is very surprised that he's asking me to go to the butcher. Then he goes to the butcher who is, who is basically selling meat over there. Then he is surprised that how can I ask? But still, since the lady asked her to ask, this Kosik Brahman asked him that, I came to get some knowledge from you. It seems you are very knowledgeable. Then Kosik tells him that you better wait for some time. Let me first finish my duty. And he is surprisingly asking that he is selling meat, and he's kind of confused. How this person is going to tell me in what is knowledge and everything. Now everything is done in the evening time. This Kosik Brahman does closes the store, and he starts reciting Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. after that. Then after being confused, Kosik asks, how do you manage this? Then Kosik, then this, the Dadha, who is basically Dharmaraj, he explains him, don't judge me, don't judge anybody by the whatever you are seeing. I am doing this because I have a, my Kula Brutti is, like selling meat. My forefathers were selling meat. I don't know anything else. I have been taught to do that, and I have to take care of my father's business. And my father is now old, and I have small kids. I have to take care of them, and I serve my customers well. But I am doing this just to take care of my family, and I have no other ulterior motive. And so then and whenever I have time, I do all this, studies and everything. Basically, he explains that it is either higher or lower based on the driving force behind your act. So the right action basically is means by the efforts. So, and you have to control all your six enemies, whatever inside you, and do the action. Then I think you should be good. And that's why this Kosik Brahman, he was not, controlling his six anarthas within him. So, however, knowledge he's accumulating was not useful. But however, the other brother who is, basically Dharmaraj over here, he has controlled all these things, and he is taking care of his aged family's members, and he's doing his duty. So he is not bounded by this all the anarthas he's getting accumulated on this. So just wanted to, I think, share this story over here.
Hare Krishna Madhaji. This story is a bit controversial. The Hariram Prabhu years back mentioned that this is a kind of a story for the impersonalist. It's not really fit into the real aspect of what Srila Prabhupada teaching of personalism. Because of this is generalizing everything that a preacher can do his duty, whatever he can control. But the problem, the thing is that is everything is same, and it's that he can do whatever he wants, but at the same time he can control everything. But that is kind of in our theory or our application, it's not quite possible because of I mean, its all point is that Ramru was mentioning it's kind of an impersonalist approach or impersonalist view of it. Anyway, that's not the point. What basically about the question on the on this Subal Prabhu's is Surabhi Mataji already covered that. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they were on the Muhammadiyans, this the Hussain Mughal Shah's palace. All these were going on. They were killing the cows, eating meat, everything. And Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami was part of it. They came out. Yes, I mean, we are all Grihasthas, it's true. I mean, they could just quit. Even that time, they were part of the family and part of the Grihastha family. But they understood, realized the truth and importance of, Krishna consciousness. Same case here, an attendant, flight attendant, who is serving the meat and all. Yes, definitely according to the Manusmriti, it is mentioned that one who indulge in any kind of filling and eating and distributing and serving, it says that whatever the hairs contained on that, the space of that meat, that cutting from the body of that much lifetimes, they have to go through the hell. They have to serve in the hell, the same, and they have to go through it. And that's a fact. I mean, that's what is we were discussing on the other day, the collective karma, why people are suffering in various collective together because of all this, because of they're all part of it. So it's a knowledge. First thing is the knowledge, the proper understanding. Yes. I mean, if people are now in this age of Kali, it's like, lower than Shudra. I mean, they indulge in all these things. But this was not the case before. So the point is, so when somebody is in a situation, as if you are serious enough, if they are determined, they are realized is my higher purpose of the life, not to just, always, they can come out. I mean, there are so many other jobs we can do, and there are so many people, even just for, that even Mahatma Gandhi, story of Mahatma Gandhi, have you heard about it? Kasturba Gandhi. Kasturba Gandhi was contracted with this tuberculosis and suffering like anything, and went to the hospital, and doctor suggested a beef soup. suggested in order to come out of this tuberculosis, and day by day it's deteriorating. And only way that to save her is actually give the beef soup to Kasturba Gandhi. Gandhiji was a very non-violent person, vegetarian, and very much strict on vegetarianism as well. And he understood that what we it's against the code of our dharma, eating beef. So then Mahatma Gandhi took Kasturba Gandhi back home, even didn't, even allow or anything to give to Kasturba Gandhi. Was so strict on it. So there are people, those who are strict on it because of they go with their, the principles, dharma, and what is specified in the scripture. So here in the flight attendant, yes, if he's serious about that, he is really going through Bhagavad Gita. And if he has a sincere desire that I need to come out, definitely Lord will show a way that he can pursue in his career, away from his or this anartha. These are also anarthas because of he is getting into these kinds of sinful activity. So one who surrenders unto Krishna, Krishna would relieve from or protect him from the sinful reactions and actions also. So that is accordingly how serious and how sincere desire he has, so that he can come out of it. And in the Back to Godhead magazine, if you go through magazine, at least every volume of it, and it actually gives a story of a devotee who has been in this kind of situation, or serving serving in a liquor shop, or attendant, or what is called a chauffeur in the or a cook, or whatever actually, in serving in the non-devotees and sinful people and all. So I think it's a conclusion is that the devotee has progress. They should have this kinds of sincere desire that please protect me from all this material reactions or material problems. So Lord will definitely protect such people, and they can even completely come out of it. This is what is the result of that one who is able to come out of all. That's what is exactly shows the progress that he is progressing in the path of Krishna. It's not that okay, I just want to do this duty. Oh, I need to take care of my family. Yes, that's true, but that doesn't mean that all lifetime you have to do it. Yes, you must be doing it. Yes, you may be getting good promotions, good money, good salary, and everything. That means you're enjoying it. But where is these teachings of Bhagavad Gita? We live in the bare necessities of life, and don't too much of indulgence. When there are so many ways, also if he has a proper understanding, he would do that. He would come out of it if he's serious. So that he will, that's what is called purification. If he's not purified enough, or not purified, by this chanting of holy name, and it should be purified, but if it is not sincere, and it may take a little more time, but eventually.
Prabhuji, how would you explain Bhakti Charu Swami's instructions to me personally? Because that seems to be kind of a little different than what you're saying about the purificatory process. Maharaj said that it's your consciousness, the intent and purpose. So even though you are purchasing meat, it becomes a karmic activity if your consciousness is that I'm doing this as the result of that activity, which is your salary, promotion, whatever, is used in taking care of Krishna's family and bringing them closer. So the question of purification and the other examples. There are also other examples. Prabhupada himself asked his disciples in Russia, they didn't have anything to eat. He says, yes, you can eat meat, but do your book distribution.
Yeah, that's exceptional cases.
So with all these things, and similarly in the scriptures like Manu Samhita and all that, I'm not trying to say that it's not important. These are all these guidelines. But my understanding is that the bhakti or the Krishna consciousness goes above and beyond all these riti rivas, so to say. like yesterday's pastime of Shabari Mata, she was actually biting and giving the Lord, whereas they're so careful during DT kitchen because, of course, they're not at that stage of consciousness. So, I think the idea of understanding of so much of knowledge which is there in the scriptures and real life application, that's where the value of a guru or a senior Vaishnava who would be able to assess a situation and then say that, okay, this is uh, how it is. Prabhupada crossed 7 seas. Sannyasis are not supposed to cross 7 seas. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, do it. You go. Prabhupada's food was next to meat in Sally Mataji's house, right next to the meat in the fridge. But he made do of the situation because it's consciousness, correct?
I mean, that is true. I mean, in the sense that in your question, Bhaktichar Maharaj, yes. But Maharaj, if it's a real sense of what Maharaj, instruction is actually, yes. Now you may need it for bringing up the family in the Krishna consciousness. But I don't think so Maharaj would say that if it is that, like lifetime, activities of it. You may do it now because you don't have any other options. But you have it to have an endeavor. You have it to have a try to get something or try to come out of it because of that desire is there, that that guilt feeling is there, that I'm doing this for this is sinful, or this is not supposed to do it, I should not do it. So when we have that one and sincere desire, Krishna will show a path and Krishna will do that definitely. But so Maharaj's point was this, but we always think that okay, this is for me, myself, those things. So Maharaj's point was is we should change that kind of thought and understanding, but rather we do it for Krishna and Krishna's family. Yes. So there is a way to, at least for as long as we do that, there is a way that we can cover that because of our conscience. But actually, there is a story. Actually, there was a saint, a sage who was living in a forest. So he thought, he is completely secluded. He said that, I'm completely will purify, everything will be there, and I should go away from everybody. He was living in a secluded place. One day, king actually went into the forest, and he was hunting, and he was alone, and it got dark. He just lost the way, and he came and saw this, this sage was living in a secluded place in alone in this hermitage. So this king came and requested, can I stay tonight just for a night? And I'm lost my way. The sage, agreed. So king stayed there, and the king next day morning, as soon as the sun came up, he just left the hermitage. But he forgot his his sword over there. So when he forgot his sword, and then king never came back, this sage was even, that's not even looking, and sage was, I'm completely mendicant, I'm completely aloof from everything. Why should I look at it? Why should I look at it? So what happened, this sword was keeping there inside his hermitage. And then after days passed, weeks passed, and this sage had a little kind of thought, let me look at it, how it looks like. He just went nearby and looked at it. It's a beautiful, sword, and nice, cage, and everything is there. And then he just put it back, and he was, so after a few days, what happened again, he was, oh, beautiful, let me see, let me take this sword out from this cage. And he took it, oh, beautiful, nice, it's glittering with this thin sharp edge. And he just put it back. So weeks passed, days passed, and now he became kind of little bit more conscious of this sword. Yeah, I can make use of this sword, and I go out into the forest and cut the woods. He took and he cut the, this sword. Sorry, he took the sword. He always now taking this sword along with him. And now, as if that he got a strength, he said that I can do anything I want. I have a sword in my hand. I can do anything I want. He started to cut even the wood. Earlier he used to pick the woods. Now he has to, he tried to cut the woods, and now he tried to cut the trees. And now started with this sword, and he now tried to do, he now tried to cut everything as if like, yeah, I can. It's so nice, wonderful, this I think. And what happened? The sword And even he was killing, even that days past, he was killing even the snakes on the trees. And it's eventually what happened. He fall down and he became completely, conscious of. Now he started to kill not only snakes, now he started to kill the plants, he started to kill these small birds and animals, even now he started to eat meat, everything. So the point is this one. So this will affect definitely the consciousness. Even though we say our consciousness can be pure, it cannot be even pure for a minute. Even it cannot even pure for 5 minutes. Can anybody in this world can say that my consciousness is pure for 5 minutes? It's not possible. Only by practice that we can purify our consciousness. Only by practice. That's why it's so important that Srila Prabhupada put this Krishna consciousness, that chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad. Even though we hear it immediately after this class, our mind goes all the directions. It is not, it's very difficult. Even it's easy to say that, we can pure our consciousness and all. It's not possible. The association is very important. What we associate, that's what you are going to become. So that's exactly the same case for it. There are so many stories like that. The point is, it's very difficult to control our mind, very difficult to control our consciousness. Only by process, only by practical application, we can do that. We can come out of it. So when we do this, that our process, association, Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, then only we can purify. Then only at that stage, it comes to our even consciousness that, yes, this is wrong, I should come out of it. But if we think that, keep trying to do that, yes, we are doing something now, but we have to follow yes, you're right. You have to approach a spiritual master. Spiritual master properly say he gives the right medicine and right prescription and right medicine for right, that each individual. So he will give, okay, continue with, but you have the consciousness for the Krishna. The point Maharaj was making. So because with that consciousness, yes, I'm doing this for Krishna. So some extent will purify and some point it will all clear out. Now I'll have an opportunity to say I have to progress more on Krishna consciousness, so I will come out of it. So then this path will progress. Unless and until we purify our heart and consciousness, we cannot move out from this world. That's all point. So if we say that, Grihastha, we do this, all whatever we can do, unless and until not 100%, but unless and until some extent of that, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that purify our heart and the mind and consciousness, we cannot come out of the anarthas in this world.
Lovely. Prabhu, you gave me a new perspective on Maharaj's instruction. I really appreciate it. It's we should have the desire, because it could become very easy that, now sanctioned by authority, like Maharaj, sanctioned by authority. And there are these examples of Prabhupada giving. So it can tend to become a little bit lazy, and that desire that, hey, Krishna, this is something which is heinous. Please do something, please. Otherwise, we could remain stuck there. And as you were telling about this, in one way, I agree, we are all that sadhu who gets tempted by that sword. All of us. If we are honest with ourselves. And you gave a very good example. After the class is over, again, the mind is running here and there. So many. And I remember, again, the value of talking to a Vaishnava and the Sangha, which you were saying. Many years back, Chandramauli Maharaj was very active in our Bhakti Vriksha group. So I asked Maharaj that, Maharaj, we have this thing of calling all women Mataji. That's our culture. We call women Mataji. But when you go to New York City, especially in summer, it's very difficult because they're almost half naked, the clothes which people wear. And it's so distracting and the mind gets agitated. So what to do? And then you people are sannyasis, you all have taken lifelong vows. How does this work? So he says, yes, that's the condition of the material nature, and that's where we are in the middle of it. There are all these noise around us. He's saying the practical way, what Maharaj does, he says, I look immediately at the Mataji's feet. I look to Mataji's feet. I don't look above the feet. I look to Mataji's feet. If somebody is not properly dressed, I look to her feet and I go with the consciousness that Mataji is for Krishna. Krishna is the only Purush and everyone else is Prakriti, meant for enjoyment. So he just looks, the practical application of that is just look at the feet. Then you won't get distracted. You won't have any thoughts like that. But yeah, very good example of that sadhu. And we are all sadhus, but thank you, Simeshwar Prabhu. After so many years, I got a new, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful discussion, and it's very nice that that's the purpose of, dear devotees, every devotees was, I mean, wonderful questions, wonderful discussions, and Surabhi Mataji's class, it's
Thanks to Surabhi Mataji and Subal Prabhu.
Yeah.
Our class and Subal Prabhu's question. Thank you.
Thank you, Amritananda Prabhu, Simeshwar Prabhu, and Surabhi Mataji. I got, I started thinking in a different direction, like you said. But my follow-up question, if you have time, I don't know, maybe it's just
yes,
too complex.
please go ahead. Yes, now we have time. Yes.
Yeah, like I just gave a very simple example, but when I think about it, like all of us, we are working in a situation where whether I can just tell you about my example. I work for New York City Department of Education. When you think about it, it's very a very noble situation I'm in, all that. But when I think about it, the same Department of Education, it promotes school lunches, and in the school lunches, they're serving meat. I can give you another example. Like if you're working in a bank, the bank might be actually investing in casinos or God knows, some or giving loans to a Baitor where they kill cows. So in a way, we are all kind of caught up in this, situation where we are actually supporting where people are, I guess it's Kali Yuga. So I mean, I kind of feel it's kind of a lost cause. I mean, that's I feel so we're gonna get karma.
That is a good. I think it's a good question. Wonderful project. I mean, it says. I mean, look at this way. So we are barely eating sin. Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if you don't offer to the Supreme, so even we are killing the plants. If you are killing everything, so everything is there. So one way or other, we are sinful. I mean, in every aspect, every moments of our life, right? So likes that way. So we are sinful, but Krishna says, yes, patram burpam balam doyam. Yes, everything is there. But Krishna never said that, okay, we should offer meat to the Krishna, right? Krishna said, yes, you do this minimum bear, that, okay, wonderful patram burpam balam doyam, vegetarianness. And 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita gives a wonderful modes of passion modes. What are the foods are there for the mode of goodness? What is there on the mode of ignorance? What are our activities, behavior, karma, akarma, vikarma? Why it is all mentioned? Because it is giving us this directions, giving us this knowledge that, what we can follow on, what we can apply it in our life. It's not that, yes. So then Krishna said, yes, and we follow that. Even though we cutting the vegetables and plants, and it's sinful, but still we have to survive. In order to survive in this world, one has to kill another animal. I mean, or plants. That animal is how animal is, they kill, but there is no karma for it. It's bound. But the human has it. So human has this distinctive intelligence that to decide what is right and what is wrong. Yes, absolute truth is absolute, that's spiritual and complete. But in this material world, that we all have this distinctive understanding or intelligence that to utilize properly that what is right and what is wrong. Right, in this case, yes, we are all working and we are part of, even we are moving, stepping in our, on a ground, we are killing so many insects and ants. Papa is there. And yes, indirectly these are there, but it's not that as bad as when we directly involve all these things. Like, we hear the death in so many ways, but we don't have that much effect on us, right? Every day, thousands of people are dying in this world by accident or by many ways. But it effective was actually even some of our dear or near somebody is in our close relationship. If somebody dies, it shocks us. Why? Because we have some, direct relationship with them. But if we don't have, so what will happen? We don't realize it, or we don't, even bother about it. But death is happening every day, millions of people in this world, but death is also happening to near to our. And if somebody is very near, we are so shattered, and why? Is all in our mind and the consciousness. What is exactly needs to be come out of it. So yes, indirectly it is there. We are part of all this system, but is that as not as bad as that somebody directly involved into this any of these things. That reactions is so multiple times greater than that. Is like, yes, bank is just doing it, but we are also part of it. Yes, there are some of it, right? Some point of it, so that we should be very, chanting. Our day starts with the praise of the Lord and everything, so that can protect. That's why Sri Krishna says, the Lord says that I would protect means from all these sinful reactions. So that way, we can, go further and progress in. Otherwise, if we think all this, meditate every day, oh, I'm doing bang, I'm doing, or we will get so mad and we cannot. But we have to take this path of the words of Guru, Sadhu Shastra, and then go further with it. And then we pray and Supreme Lord. That doesn't mean that, okay, every day I pray to Supreme Lord and I go and kill, or I go and eat, I go and do these things, bad things, and this break the four regulated principles. No, I mean, yes, even drinking coffee and onion and all, actually, yes, it's part of it. But some extent, even, sometimes it has to. I mean, Srila Prabhupada's case had to go through this family invited, had to eat this onion, right? For what? Higher purpose. But there is a stage, I think also would like to say that there is a stage in devotee's life also, that when you come to that stage that, they can realize that is, am I really doing for me, or am I really doing this for Krishna?
Yeah.
Right? So that state, we can all, come to that state of it, that am I really doing this for Krishna, or am I doing really this for, that's what is basically this is a journey, right? So by the process of chanting, purification, everything, then we know that, right, the vaccination gives what is called, what is that called? That some kind of guarantee, right? Some kind of assurance that, yes, it won't, affect me. So this process of knowledge, this process of bhakti, this process of devotional service, everything gives us a guarantee that, yes, we'll be vaccinated from these kinds of calamities, these kinds of problems, these kinds of things. Even though we go through it, that's what it is. Yes, I mean, for a person directly killing a cow, he got 100%. But when we have abstained from all this, and we are covered and we are chanting purified, and then we may affect maybe 5%, right? 94% we are protected. 5%, kind of. So that's my realization on this project.
Lovely.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for beautiful. I mean, yeah, very nice answer. Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah, I got my answers.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for. Do you have 1 or 2 minutes?
Oh yes, please go. Please go.
Yeah. So I was actually meditating about this discussion, and actually I know a few senior devotees around who actually are working in cigarette companies, who are actually working in beer companies, and they are very senior devotees. They are some of them are holding president position in ISKCON. So when I think about this question and how it relates to our Krishna consciousness life, my thought process is, as long as you're regulated, and based on what Mr. Prabhu mentioned about the verses about how to stay regulated, eating, patram phalam paspantue, and being very firm in Krishna consciousness. But the same person who is a temple president, he is working in a cigarette company, but he is using all the outcome from there. He is trying to keep him delineated from the negative effects, and still able to maintain and promoting his temple in a very nice way. And he has been maintaining that for decades and decades. and he's been getting better spiritually. And there are many very senior devotees who are in beer alcoholic companies, but they're untouched by the negative effects of that. And and this is not one or two examples. There are at least 50 examples. And there is another person who works in an airline in the DC area, who is actually a very, very senior devotee in ISKCON. He is actually in charge of the meals department. And this person is very senior in explaining and leading the Krishna conscious activity and preaching in the DC area. So when I ask and interact and talk, they give an impression, as long as we are not affecting, and they have not tried to leave the job because of whatever reason. Because once you leave a job, and if the next job you get is in a cigarette company or an alcohol company, but you are untouched by it, your work is essentially is to manage some IT side or whatever side. You are not really directly related to the bottling of it or packaging of it. You are not really personally or physically. So in this new age, right, where we live in, where there is a lot of challenges with people. So this is a very wonderful discussion. And we also need to look at, how, ISKCON is actually inspiring devotees to live. And Srila Prabhupada didn't stay back in Radha Damodar. He came here right in the heat of the world, New York City, the place where everything happens. So there is a lot of thoughts in this context, and more we discuss, we will have more practical answers. But I think let's keep the dialogue and discuss if time permits again. And it's a very good discussion in my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Guruji. I think it's, yes, I mean, we are living in a world, I mean, everything is not 100% perfect around. And there are exceptions, definitely is there. I mean, they may be continuing their, the position of temple president. I mean, definitely the purity is the force, there could be, there can be, and there's no difference between it. I mean, even also, let's all take it actually, it's you and Krishna. That's what is the gauge. We can say that, okay, temple president, there are so many. But what is this purity, level of purity is between you and Krishna only knows. Nobody else can say that, how pure you are, how bad you are, how good you are. Let's say we are not there to judge anyone or anything like that, right? So that is there. So it's a general discussion of it, that what we can do or what we need to do as maximum as possible, as far as possible, so that we can progress and purify our life in this, so that we can more and more realize Krishna. We can more and more realize the Supreme. We can more and more realize the spiritual glories. We can more and more realize the, the vastness of this spiritual, understanding. We can get into that. We can really enter into the spiritual realm of. So this all actually, I mean, how much we minimize our material conceptions of life. How much we are minimizing this totally depends upon. This cannot, when material goes down, spiritual goes up. When material goes up, spiritual goes down. It's invariably proportional to each other. This is what it is in this material world. As much as we minimize the material consciousness of, so anything which helps to that, we should practice that. Yes, if that helps bring the money and bring that consciousness of the temple and the family to bring the rage, all these things helps. And if he's progressing in Krishna consciousness, yes, I mean, we can say that that's between Krishna and him. There are unique cases how Krishna
Yeah.
takes care of each of his devotees.
Yeah.
Right? That's all. It's always says that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mahatma namstu pambartha devim prakriti masradaha. Mahatmas. There are Mahatmas. They're going into the battlefield.
Right.
Arjuna is in the battlefield and killing everyone.
Yeah.
But the difference is there. One who is working for Krishna, but one who is working for him. That's what is exactly this difference here. One who is working for Krishna, and Krishna direct him. I mean, if he's purified enough, what to do? And yes, Srila Prabhupada instructed to Jayananda Goswami, Jayananda Das. Jayananda was about to quit his job. He was working in a company initially. Then he became a taxi driver, something like that. So continue use that. You bring your money, and with that instruction, followed that instruction, Jayananda Das became so purified. And then finally, completely dedicated to the Srila Prabhupada and his cause, completely, and chariot construction, all those things. And when Jayananda Das left his body, Srila Prabhupada was sure. Srila Prabhupada said, he directly went to Goloka Vrindavan. So that Srila Prabhupada could understand the purity of his disciples' purity of. So Guru's instruction in this case, one who, and also this is a great topic, right? One who taken the initiation. It's a different level between the relationship between the disciple and a guru. Guru can easily see that his heart, very clear seeing in a picture what he is going through. So this guru instruct, and I mean, then there is a good relationship between guru and a disciple and a guru. And due course of time, if you follow that instructions of guru, then we can nicely progress in that aspect. But many times what happened, we put our own mental speculation and mental kind of things brought into, we take decision our own, we think our own, okay, this could be nice. Then we compare with all this, okay, he did that way, he did that way, he did, oh, this is okay, so I can continue with this, okay, this is okay, this is okay. But one who initiated is always better to follow his spiritual master in all respect. That's very, very important. So that way, it mentioned that we would be protected and covered. Otherwise, we can easily fall down. We can come down. We can fall down into this material consciousness.
Yeah. So, very nice point about how you can defy the urge of Maya when Krishna is testing you. And there are many people in this world, many devotees in the world, who are very determined, actually. And like sometimes what happens is, if you're playing and you're subjected to some very difficult balls, in cricket, for example, these players, they play well, but they will get out in very easy deliveries. So likewise, devotees are very determined as well. So when they're subjected to challenges, they do more chanting. Maya is catching me. I'm working in a cigarette company. I want to stay out of that. I want to keep my temple. And they become even more determined. They become even strong devotees.
Yep.
This reminds me of, the bad situation. The contractor sent a woman to Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur was chanting. And this determined devotees who are subjected to challenges, and they come up so strong. And these are really inspirations when it comes to these use cases Subal Prabhu brought in this discussion. And that really tests. And when they fall down, it is really sad. And that's why if you're not strong enough, probably you should leave that job and find somewhere, because you can't maintain it, and you cannot maintain the spiritual life for your family, maintenance or whatever. But if you're determined, that really brings the best out of them. They become ironclad, cornels of Prabhupada movement. And these are and some of these devotees are even more powerful, more strong in the determination to do things. So something to really think about. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavata Pranam.
Yeah, that's exactly, yes. So that's true. But when we talk generally about this, we are not even reached, anywhere into that. We are practicing devotees, we are sadhakas. So we are trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, like Srila Radhanath Maharaj says that, cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and washing and washing and washing. We keep trying. So date can come in between. We still do, we still do, we still do. So yes, this determination and everything, this the mercy, this won't come easily. It's very difficult to fight with Maya in this world. It's so strong, and every moment, every aspect of the moment we come out of it, Maya is going to catch you, catch us. Let me enjoy this. Every moment is like that. So it's quite difficult. There's determination in the sense that, yes, I mean, there are devotees, of course. There are strong devotees. That's the one. Think about that, from the beginning of 1665, when Srila Prabhupada came, those hippies. There's so many wonderful devotees of such a strong determination. They all become wonderful sages and sannyasis, and they're still serving the Srila Prabhupada, still serving Srila Prabhupada at this mission. But many of them actually, I would say only maybe 20% is actually still with ISKCON, but 80% is actually, it's not anymore with ISKCON, or they do so many other things. Yes, so these are all examples out there. So then compared to us, we are still grihasthas, family life, children, family, so many things. It's very important that we try as much as possible and pray to Krishna and follow the instructions which is given by gurus, Srila Prabhupada's instruction. We follow that, and so that we can at least some extent in this life come to that level of purity and determination, so that we can fix our consciousness completely for the service of the Lord. So, yeah.
Prabhuji, it's getting late, so I'll just put a thought out there. Maybe some other time we can discuss our Nityam Bhagavata Seva. I'd like to end with, when you were mentioning Krishna told Arjuna to kill, and Arjuna didn't hesitate, he understood and he killed, because Krishna has given the instruction, whatever you say, Krishna, that's what I'll do. So what is more important, Krishna's instruction to you or your seva to Krishna? In the sense of Krishna says, stop doing seva for me, because a devotee is willing to go to hell also, as long as he can do seva for Krishna. So from that perspective, what would a
simple answer, Krishna's instructions and seva is not different, it's same.
Yeah, but if he tells you stop worshipping me,
you do it, because he has another plan for you. He won't leave you. He won't simply anything with Krishna it's seva. I can go to hell. I can do anything I want. Krishna, what is your desire? That's my desire. Anything other than your desire is my desire, oh Krishna, that I don't want to do. Anything is yours, is mine. That is Krishna. That's what is, we are really, that means the devotee of Krishna. I don't have anything other than you. Srila Prabhupada write in a letter, you can put me, you can stamp me, you can put me in the water. I'm just a puppet. You can put me in you can kill me, you can put me in the ocean, you can left or right or Lord, I am your puppet. Yes, that's exactly Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Srila Prabhupada said the same thing, reflected the same thing. You can utilize me in any way you want. If I say, no, Krishna, you can't do this to me, where is our devotion to Krishna? There's no point. Any way you want, Krishna, that's what is, every acharyas did it. Every acharyas did it. You can utilize me in any way you want. I am your puppet. I am a puppet in your hand. I'm a leaf in the river. The current flows, how it goes, the same way. I don't have anything my own, Krishna. I don't have anything. It's all yours. I am yours. I don't have anything that which is against you, or with the will again. That's what is we all should be.
Nice.
That's what is all should be.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and Machi, for the.
Thank you. That's 8:40.
I really like the example of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. I think that's what I mean that's what I liked. I mean that's what gave me my answer.
Wonderful. Yes. Where is Surabhi Mataji? I think it's weak to go. Mataji is still there. I think let's also thank Surabhi Mataji. Sorry, Surabhi Sundarachalam Mataji, a wonderful Haribol. So a wonderful, wonderful class. It was so powerful. With the example of, the example of a prince and what is the position of the king and the prince and the ministers. It was so wonderful, so excellent. So please convey Hema Jagannath Prabhu or Haribol to Rabbi Mataji. So nice.
Okay.
So let's thank all the dear devotees. First of all, let's thank Rabbi Mataji. Say Haribol 3 times. Haribol.
Haribol. Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol.
Also thank all the dear devotees for staying late and his wonderful discussion, and thank you so much. Let's also
Prabhuji, Sudhakar Bellam Prabhu has a question in the chat.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let me see. Let's see. Even without Krishna's instruction, Arjuna as a Kshatriya is supposed to fight in the battlefield. Yes, correct. So that's what is exactly, Prabhuji, that we are, yes, directly and indirectly. So there are instructions in the scriptures, there are instructions through the Guru, there are instructions through the Lord. Basically, the Vedic scriptures and text, all these instructions are given directly or indirectly. That is also Krishna's instruction. This Veda, which comes out from the mouth of the Lord, there is a breath. It's a breath. Actually, Vedas is known as the breath of the Lord. So all the instructions in the Veda itself is actually come out from the mouth of the Lord. So any instructions, these are all mentioned in the Vedas. So it is there, these instructions there as the Lord's instruction. So it's not separate from the. So even Kshatriya, the code of Kshatriya is also Lord's way, Lord's instruction. Sadhe Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vivagasham. Tatkartaram Abhima Vidikartaram Abhiyam. And this also Chaturvarnya system, and it's all whatever is mentioned Veda is also instructions of the Lord. It's not separate. So yes, so we have to follow the Vedas. We have to follow the instructions of the Lord, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. It's all Lord's instructions only ultimately. Amrudananda Prabhu said that all road goes to the Rome. Vijali likes that. These all instructions are actually goes to Supreme. Supreme's instructions. What we need, what to do, what not we to do. Is it clear, Prabhuji?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay. Conclude then this section. Let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpataru.
Vaishnava
Jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Father ki Jai.
Jai.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everybody.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Surabhi Mataji.
Thank you, Surabhi Mataji.